Okay, so I'm going to take my sketching pencil first. We're not starting with charcoal, we're starting with our sketching pencil. And we're going to take a piece of blue tape and we're going to tape the white drawing paper over top of our printout, like this. And then we put it on the light board so we can see through it. And we take our sketching pencil and very lightly we're going to trace anywhere where there's a color change, or a value change is actually the proper term. So value is light and dark. So what I'm doing here is anytime it is a change from black to white or black to gray or white to gray, I make a line. And this is going to make my life much easier when I start filling it in with charcoal. So I'm starting to go over all the things on the skull, all the cracks, outlining all the areas where there's shadow very lightly. I get that whole part done. Don't worry about your name at the bottom. Just try to get everything. I can always turn the light board on and off to really see what it's going to look like. So I have that part done, and I'm going to set that aside for a second. And what I'm going to do is take my printout off, and we're going to take the tape off there. All right, once your tracing is done, you're going to need an extra sheet of paper to go over top like this. Make sure it's laying directly over top of it like this. And then you're going to take a piece of blue tape and we're going to tape them together. So it's kind of like a cover sheet. That's what I'm going to call it. We'll call it a cover sheet. And you're going to put the tape half and half. So half on this piece of paper, peel it off, and then you're going to fold that tape over on the back. So now this is a cover sheet, because when you're using charcoal, it can get really messy. So you need a cover sheet. The other thing that you're going to need for that extra piece of paper, and I said you needed 3 pieces, so you'll have another piece of paper, and you'll also need your pencil sharpener. And then what I do is this. I'll show you. This is what it'll look like when you're done. I do all my pencil shavings over an extra piece of paper. That way I can take my pencil shavings, turn it sideways like this, and dump them in the trash, okay? Don't get them all over the table, just put them on this, and then throw this like this, and dump them in the trash like that, okay? That's because getting up and using the regular pencil sharpener is not going to work, because it's going to eat your pencil. The regular electric pencil sharpener will just devour these charcoal pencils because they're so soft. So now what I'm going to do is, if I am right-handed, what I'm going to do is take my drawing and put it on the right-hand side, and I'm going to have my printout that's coming out of the left. And the reason why I do it that way is because charcoal smears very easy. So I like to work from the left side of my drawing to the right side of my drawing. Because if you do the opposite, it gets all over your hands and it gets everywhere. So if you are left-handed, you're going to do the opposite. You are going to put your printout on the opposite. So if you were a lefty, it would look like this. You would have your printout on the right, and you would be drawing on the left, and you would draw from right to left. That way you don't get it all over your hand. So you can see this is what it would look like. Now I'll flip it back. Okay, and also another thing you can do too is you can rotate your paper. That way you don't get it all over yourself. So sometimes I'll rotate and blend like this. One important thing to remember is you're going to have black all around the outside of your skull. That is required. So you want to make sure that you first start by putting down charcoal, and then what you'll do is blend over top of it. So then I need to sharpen my pencil, and this can always be kind of a difficult task. So I'll have that extra piece of paper, sharpen, and sometimes the tip breaks, and the tip will break off inside, and I have to tap it to get that tip out. Sometimes I'll grab another pencil and I'll pop that out. So you got to be really careful when you're doing your pencil sharpening, because these things don't sharpen very well. Okay, now I'm going to go back over those lines again, filling in really dark values, and we can move it around later with our blender like this. That softens everything up. I also like to use my blender just for shading, like right here, because what I do is I have enough charcoal on the edge of my blender, and I can use that blender as a drawing tool and my regular pencil as a drawing tool. So what you're going to see is I'm going to go back and forth between the two. I'll use my blender because there's plenty of charcoal on it, and then I'll go back and use my charcoal pencil back and forth, back and forth. So at this point, you're just going to try to do your best to match what you see on the left. So your answer key is going to be your printout on the left-hand side. So anytime it's gray, you're going to make it gray. You don't want it really dark pitch black. So I'm going to work on the background again a little bit. First you lay down the charcoal. Then what you do is you take, so here's more charcoal here. I put a little piece of paper so I'm not drawing on the table. Then I take my blender, blend it in. This doesn't take very long. It's kind of fun to do. Sometimes people say, oh, I could do the whole background. Well, yeah, it doesn't take very long. It's kind of fun to do. And we want to try to start on the far left and work to the right, opposite for our lefties. Now that part over the mouth was a little dark, so I went in and erased it. Erase is really easy. Now a little piece got stuck in there. That's what I'm pointing out. And I actually take a regular pencil and I pop the end of the charcoal out. So if it's not sharpening properly, sometimes you'll get a little piece. You can pop it out like that. Then twist it really gently. Don't go too fast. Don't press too hard. Sometimes with these charcoal pencils, if you drop them, the charcoal on the inside snaps so they don't sharpen really, really well. So make sure that you're being really careful when you do the sharpening. And if you put them in the electric pencil sharpener, it'll just eat them. It eats the charcoal pencil, and you can just push it and they'll disappear inside. So you don't really want to use those in a regular pencil sharpener. It's best to use the handheld sharpener for those ones. So now I'm just going to keep plugging away with all my little details around the teeth. You can always go back and forth using your charcoal pencil or use your blender. Just keep going back and forth. And remember, you want to try to work from left to right. So you'll notice that whole right side of my artwork is not done yet, because if I would have started the right hand side, all of that would get on my right hand. And again, it's going to be the opposite for lefties. So if you're a lefty, this is what you're going to do. Okay, you're going to set up like this. Put your drawing on the right, and you're going to work from right to left. That way you don't get it all over your hand. So whenever I say that, I'll make sure I flip and show you the difference. So I just flipped the video because I'm right-handed, but I just wanted to show you what it would look like for somebody that is a lefty. So I'm going to keep continuing here. I'm going to speed it up a little bit so you can see me continue my drawing. So let's get into fast speed here. Alright, so now I'm going at about 4 times the speed. You can see how quickly it looks now, but you're getting the idea. Again, I had said this before, but I like to work back and forth. I will use my pencil and then blend. And if you get enough charcoal on your blender, again, you can use it to draw with. You can just draw only with your blender. Okay, let's go a little faster now. Okay, so here's your main keys to your drawing. You want to match what you see on the left. So you want to match your picture as closely as you can. And the other important thing is you need to be able to blend. So you don't want really harsh edges. See, you want to go over top and blend. So blend, make sure you do the background. So most people's backgrounds will be black. If it was green and it was part of that over there, I can see on the table we have the green cloth. So the green cloth may be a little bit of a lighter gray, and if it's a black background, you're going to do this, make it nice and dark, make it black in the background like that. So try to duplicate your skull as close as you can. Try to match those values. Remember, values are dark and light in an image. That's what value means. That's the vocabulary word for this. Value is dark and light. Try to match that best you can. I have some streaks kind of on the bottom of mine. I like it. I don't really have a problem with that. So there's my cover sheet. Remember your cover sheet over top. When you're done, you want to make sure you close that cover sheet to protect it. And here it is, my final drawing. I'm pretty happy with it. I hope you guys had a good time doing this. Our only other final step is we'll spray it to make sure that it doesn't smear everywhere. And thanks for watching.